All right, well, we're rolling.
We're rolling.
So yeah, welcome to the first episode of Notes and Lyrics. Very new thing. With me today, I have Matt Donaldson.
Hello. Thanks
Hey,
for
Matt.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me on this wild, crazy new idea of mine. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
To the first episode.
To the first
of Notes and
episode.
Lyrics.
Yeah, how exciting. So, how this idea came about is I was asked about old lyrics of mine, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll check my phone and I'll check my notes because that's where I've always written my lyrics from the age of like 15. So I had a look and I was reading through and I was like, oh my God. So, you know, some of them are outrageous and awful and brilliant. You know, you see different things and you kind of see like where your head was at that time. And it's like you're tapping into this world of where you used to be, I think, which is quite exciting. So yeah, I thought, what a great idea. Why don't I chat to other musicians?
Yeah, for sure.
And see, you know, what they were thinking about at that time and try and explore those kind of lyrics, those kind of thoughts and that kind of space.
Cool.
So yeah, and you were my first thought. I was like, it's got to be this guy. Yeah, it's got to be this guy. So yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to do today.
Sweet.
But yeah, first of all, tell me about yourself.
So I'm based in Manchester. My name is Matt Donaldson. Artist name is Matthew Gregory, which feels weird. And it's got to the point now where like I'm introducing myself as Matt and people meet me on Instagram and they think my surname's Gregory in real life. And it's just like the most weird thing in the whole world. But it's all right. It's okay. It's cool. And yeah, I make music and I write songs and I love it.
Nice. And what kind of songs do you write? What is the...
Good question. Kind of everything, to be fair.
What's the genre? I always struggle with genre. For so long when I was releasing music, it was like people would be like, what kind of genre are you? I'm like, I have no idea actually.
I think I've come to the conclusion that mine is a mix between soul and gospel music.
Nice.
And pop.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe some hip hop influences as well.
Nice.
But it's a tough question.
Nice. So a guy I know, really talented dude, who actually mixes a lot of my stuff. In fact, he mixes everything.
Okay.
Cheers, Max. Max Barrett. He goes by J Barrett. I'll have to send you some of his songs.
Please do.
He's incredible, but he put me onto this thing called Cyanite AI. You heard of Cyanite AI?
Don't think so.
You upload your track and it will tell you what it's similar to, what kind of vibe it is, what genre it is. It will tell you, I think it tells you even like where the vocal presence is, if it's a high or low. It's things that you wouldn't ever need to know, but it'll give you information. Yeah, it's things that you're like, oh cool, so yeah, this is this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I found out with these few releases that I've just done, which was Angel. I found out was mostly hip hop apparently, and then Ain't Gonna Stay was obviously rap and hip hop, and then the most recent release, Over Again, was soul and R&B.
Cool.
And it's like it's great having a tool like that I had no idea about before.
It's true.
Especially when prior to I was like, I have no idea what genre I do.
And especially because it's especially like putting it to playlists and all of that side of things.
Yes.
Is really important to know that.
Yeah, you need to know it.
You have to know it.
You need to know it. And that's a whole like new world that I feel like I've just gotten into with releasing stuff.
Yeah.
You've been releasing some of your own stuff.
Yeah.
Over the last, I think, couple of years?
Couple of years in different capacities, but yeah, over the last couple of years, really.
Yeah, so I do want to jump back to the old Matthew Donaldson before it was Matthew Gregory.
Yeah,
it was just Matt Donaldson. Yeah, Matt Donaldson, because there was some killing songs. There was some killer songs, man.
And people still sing those to me.
Honestly, when you came around and you came in the door and I was like, oh hey man, and you know I'm still setting up. Go sit outside. I was walking up and down the corridor like, babe, I wanna get to know you. Tunes. Honestly, tunes.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
But what have you been releasing recently? What have you been working on?
The most recent thing is an EP that I'm slowly releasing. So I released a single I don't even know when I released it now.
Waste My Time?
Waste My Time
Yeah.
a while back, which has done quite well. And like, that was just so nice to release because I've been working on that one for a long time. And it's probably one of my favourite ones to play live as well. And it's the one people love. So that was nice to release. And then I've just released a 4-song EP called Love City, which is essentially just like the journey of trying to find love in all of the wrong places, but
All right.
eventually finding it.
Nice.
Which is cool. It's a cool concept, and I think it's something everyone's looking for. But
It tends to be about love.
it often is about
Yeah, I think it's not because it's the easiest thing to write about, but it's like, it's the strongest kind of emotion. It probably so therefore it is. Yeah, it is what drives. Yeah, it's what drives a lot of people and a lot of things. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the only song that isn't about love in my EP is Angel, and even then, that is about like asking for love from someone, but it's about saying I'm not in a good place and I need support.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of what I write tends to be about girls.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a lot of what I write.
Where did that start, do you think? Like, do you think you
That's a good
always just
question.
what was the first few songs you wrote about? Did you write about love, or what do you think that early inspiration for writing lyrics, where did that come from?
I think that's a really good question, and I think the best way to answer it is by like knowing my personality, which is someone who just gets really bored really easily.
Okay.
So
Are you getting bored now? We can stop if you want.
No, this isn't boring. This isn't boring. I promise. But I got really bored really easily because I learned to play guitar and like knew I could like hold a note, hold a pitch with my voice, and basically just got sick of singing other people's songs.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started writing songs and when I started writing lyrics, it was very much copying people. And I think, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first song I ever wrote was, I saw someone on TV had a kid, like a famous person. I think it might have been Robbie Williams.
Okay.
And so I decided I'm gonna write a song for Robbie Williams.
Okay.
Like I can't imagine. I've never had a kid. I can't imagine what it must be like to be in that position. But I'm gonna write lyrics for what I think it would be to be in that position.
Okay, about caring for this child.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And then I think so. That was like my earliest memory of that. And then obviously pushing that into my own
I'd
life.
love to hear some of this.
I would love to hear some of it as well.
So what's funny, like for me, I always say, you know, people ask about, oh, what's your inspiration for songs? And I think it's a toss up between like writing about experiences that I've had, and then also like trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's usually the better way. That's usually where the best inspiration has come from, because it is almost purely imaginative.
Lots of my songs are basically just like made up situations or situations my mates have been going through.
Exactly.
That I can like put myself in their shoes.
Yeah, I do. I try to do a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when I was a bit younger, like 19, 20, I was seeing a girl, and I went to play a gig and she wasn't there, but all of her friends were. And I was playing this song and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not singing about her. This is a story. This is kind of made up." But it's interesting. Like people tend to go, "This is about him.
Yeah.
This is a story that you've experienced." And I don't think that's always. Yeah. It's not always what we're doing. We're singing about situations, things we see, I guess.
One of my most recent releases actually was about a situation that was pretty much completely made up. Half of it true. Like it came from a verse that was true, and then went on and wrote the rest of the song. But at the time, I just started seeing my girlfriend, and I went to meet her brother. And she was telling me about afterwards where he basically had a complete panic because he was like, "This is objectively a really good song, but I think it's about my sister." And it was like, no, it's not. It's just like, it's not at all. But yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting seeing people's reactions and seeing how
Yeah.
people like change. I've written songs about not necessarily being in the best mental headspace.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably a testament to what you're writing about when people say, "Oh my God, like is everything okay?" and all of that kind of thing, because it means you're hitting the right notes. You're hitting, you're sending this, you're putting the story across, you're giving the story across.
But that is it though, because like that's what art's all about. It's about putting emotions and feelings that we have into your piece of art, and when other people are feeling that emotion and feeling that, like that's what art's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. How do you know when you've got something good? Like,
It's a good question, actually.
I do it a lot. I'll write a song, and usually it's like the start of the writing process, and I'll be like, oh yeah, here's an idea, and this can go one of two ways.
Yeah.
I'll either work on it, and be like, oh no, this sucks.
Yeah.
Or like I'll work on it and be like, this is good, and then sometimes I get hit with this almost like wave of emotion.
Yeah.
And some of the better songs that I've thought I've created have been ones that I've been writing, and they've actually made me a bit emotional.
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you know when you've got something? How do you know when it's
It's a good
creme
question.
de la creme?
It is just that feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like, lots of people ask me. Actually, it's probably the most common question I get in terms of my music is like, "What's your favorite song that you've written?" And I
was just about to ask you that.
And it's come I've come to the conclusion that every time I answer that question, it's like my favorite song I've written is the one I'm writing at the moment.
Nice.
Because I'm addicted to new ideas. And like, there's always that feeling of like, this is just gonna slap. You know what I mean? And I think when you're writing it in your head, you can picture like the full arrangement. You can picture the drums and like this bit going big and then dropping out and everything like that. At least I can.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been probably 3 or 4 songs where like you just write it and you just have that feeling. And I don't really know how to explain it or how to describe it. But like you just
know
this one is one of them. This one is a good one.
Okay.
And a lot of the ones that I love the most aren't the favourites for other people.
But they mean the most to you.
Yeah. And I think that's especially in a genre like soul, where actually most people that are listening aren't soul heads. You know what I mean? But they like maybe something a bit more poppy or a bit more that. Like, I'm like, oh, this one's so soulful and this one's so emotional and got all of that.
I know we chatted about it before, but what kind of genre of music do you push mostly? It's a combination of soul and pop.
Yeah, I'd say it's soul.
Okay.
If I was to classify myself as one genre, it would be soul.
Okay, got you. So just jumping back, you said when you write, you can almost picture the whole arrangement. I do that every now and again.
Yeah.
Generally, it's my process starts either with a piece of guitar or the lyrics in my mind, and I build outward from there. There's an album by Charlie Puth, and I actually don't know it. I couldn't tell you any of the songs in it, but I know it's called 9-Track Mind.
Okay.
I think it's called 9-Track Mind anyway. But that idea of like being able to think of all the tracks in one and kind of seeing that play out. Is that how you write your music?
Kind of, a little bit. I think it depends what the goal is when you're writing a song for me. Like if I'm working on an EP or an album, I can do that and I will do that. But if I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea in my head, I'm not thinking like that, you know what I mean? This is kind of like going to be a bit more like writing, for example, Waste My Time, which was intended to be released as a single. That is a standalone piece and it's just that. But in terms of the arrangement, I can almost with every song I write, I can picture what the electric guitar is going to sound like, what the bass line is going to be, what the drums are going to sound like.
Do you ever use voice notes?
Oh, mate.
Oh man, this could be
on my way here.
This could be another section of.
Well, on my way
this
here,
notes
I was
thing.
thinking, I don't have that many old notes, but I've got voice notes.
I've got some horrendous voice notes. I'm sure that can be
terrible voice
we
notes.
might have to be brave. We could look into
We
it.
can
and
be.
brave.
I'm happy to.
I'm happy to be brave. Originally I just thought notes, but hey, voice notes too.
There's still notes.
Yeah, they're still notes.
It's in the name.
They are still notes. Oh dear. Yeah, that's just letting myself into a world of pain. Yeah. So, do you ever vocalize bits of music? So, like, I have a song called Soul that when I was singing the lyrics over this track that I'd already sequenced, I had the drums and the bass, and that I even had some harmonies in there. Usually, I'm quite like get the skeleton in and build from there. I'm not thinking everything at the same time, but I was singing the lyrics, and then I'd go off in this like some sort of wild lead guitar.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you do that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah?
Most of the time it's drums. So I'm like,
oh, so you're beatboxing.
So I'm beatboxing, but it sounds terrible because I'm like in between the singing. Like I'm trying.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to like.
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
Yeah,
oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
I think one of the last 3 voice notes, and this will be in the last 3 days, will be something like that, where I'm doing part of the lyrics, but I'm trying to keep the rhythm, and I'm like,
yeah. And then it's trying to sing and like breathe in on the snare, like.
That's brilliant. I thought I was a weirdo doing that.
Me too. I'm very
Maybe
glad.
we both are.
I'm very glad.
Yeah. You know what? Cheers to that. That's
Cheers
good.
to that.
That's great. I love that. Wow.
Oh, very funny.
Okay, so we talked about where your writing starts. I kind of want to go into that deeper. Do you find like, is it lyrics that come first, or do you get inspired by music generally? Like the music first, so like the instruments and that kind of thing.
I think it's very much 50-50 for me. I think mine, like, any which way inspiration comes, like that's how it works for me. So like a lot of the time I'll have a lyric and I'll sit with a lyric or an idea of lyrics for like, I mean, even years, some of them, like, of like, I think this is a really cool idea, but I can't place it anywhere in terms of a melody or a chord progression or anything like that. Sometimes that comes instantly. I find that like, I think I might be weird, but I can always hear music in my head. So I can always hear something. So a lot of the time, like I'll listen to a song and like I'll have that stuck in my head. But like I said before, I get really bored. So like I'll be singing a song that I've heard on the radio, and 20 minutes down the road, it's a completely new song without lyrics yet in my head.
Okay.
Which is, it's quite weird.
Yeah, that sounds like a great tool. Can you teach me how?
It is a good tool, and I can't. I don't think I can teach anyone. I think it's just
how you do
it's
it.
just something I'm born
I think
with, so.
what I find is like creatively writing lyrics feels easier when I'm taking in a load of music, when I'm listening to everything, listening to finding new music, and exploring, because that's where the inspiration comes from.
Sure.
And I think, obviously, if you listen to one song and you just regurgitate that, that's copyright infringement. That is. But if you take in all sorts of bits and you kind of create this emulsion of things that come from your experiences and these ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, the times that I feel most like creative and capable of writing stuff is when I'm like really listening. So do you listen to a lot of music? Are you always surrounding yourself with music?
Yeah, I do listen to a lot of music.
Do you have to work at that, or is that just natural?
I think it depends. It depends. a lot of the time, if I'm on holiday, I'll listen to music like all the time, like constantly. Or if I'm doing something like, I don't know,
In the car?
yeah, in the car, working, like doing a monotonous job, or like cooking, or like I can't cook without music, you know what I mean? But if it's
What kind of stuff do you listen to when you're cooking?
do
you ever get that, like-
I put my chill playlist on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
that's kind of like hip hop soul. There's a guy called Sam Henshaw.
Sam Henshaw. I've heard of Sam Henshaw.
I love
Hang
Sam
on,
Henshaw.
let me look up Sam Henshaw because I recognise the name. I think I've liked one of his songs. Broke.
Oh, banger.
Broke. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Broke by Sam Henshaw.
Oh man,
It is a tune.
he's released an album probably a year and a half ago now called Untidy Soul, and I think it's still my favorite album. It's like his top 3 albums for me ever. I don't think it's top 3 albums like in a objective manner. There's so much music. He's not up there with the greats, but just for me, I think that album is just like impeccable.
It's so subjective, isn't
Exactly.
it? It's so subjective.
Exactly.
So he is great. Like
Yeah,
for you, he's great,
100%.
and
Yeah.
I do rate him a lot. I'm actually trying to find you my cooking playlist because I know there's stuff like Bambaleo on there and stuff. I'll go like
Just chucking this back.
literally, I'm going for like Mexican kind of
Nice.
inspired music.
Yeah.
You know, doing soul like this,
Yeah.
like dance around the kitchen. I don't tend to go for too much soul, but just leading on from that, what are who's your favorite artist? What are your inspirations? I think there's 2 questions. We'll go for who's your favorite artist at the moment? Would you say?
Probably Sam Henshaw is my favorite artist at the moment, and I think something that's like really super inspiring me at the moment as well is I'm a Christian and I love listening to Christian music, but like it's really, really a recent thing that Christian music has kind of like actually become very, very good.
Karen, I found my cooking playlist.
Okay. It's become very, very good. So I'm exploring that quite a lot at the moment.
What defines Christian music? What is
The songs about God
and faith?
and faith.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and like whether that's like a very personal testimony or a like story, or whether it's like just about who God is or a story from the Bible, like there's
inspiration
really
there.
cool.
There's some great stories there as well.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm trying to write more like that at the moment as well.
is that the inspiration of the route? You told me that you work for a church.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think there's a lot of Christian artists at the moment that are making just like incredible stuff, and I want to collab with, and I want to work with. And
Who do you most want to collab with? Give me a name. Go on.
there's a few, especially in the UK. Like the classic. There's a guy called Jonathan Ogden that makes. He's just like a proper artist. He explores what music is, what it looks like, genres of music, styles of music, influences, which is really, really cool. There's a girl called Praise Lubangu who's just like, she's just sick. She's just really, really cool. And then there's others. There's loads.
You have to send me some of your favorites.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's I've seen like Christian. Is it Christian? What is the name for the genre?
I don't really know. Christian contemporary music.
Yeah,
maybe.
So I see that as like a genre in when I'm releasing. It's like you can choose it, and it's like interesting.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what would define that. You know, like Angel, I sing about being tempted by the devil.
Yeah.
Right. And when I was releasing that song, and you know, you go through these sites and you're trying to choose like what genre it is, I was like, is this Christian? So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah. So I found my kitchen playlist.
Let's talk about your kitchen playlist.
And it's I've got to hold my hands up. It's not mine. It's a friend of mine,
Okay.
Joe Mills, incredible chef, you know. What? But it's like Gypsy Kings. In fact, it almost looks like Gypsy Kings, Buena Vista Social Club, and one thing called Tito Puente.
Okay.
But do you know the Gypsy Kings? They do bamboleo,
so.
cooking like just tuna mayo pasta. Yeah, and listening to this traditional like Spanish or Hispanic music. It's not quite the vibe, is it?
Not quite the vibe. One thing I do love is bossa nova music. Brazilian Portuguese music.
Okay.
It's just, honestly, it's amazing. Choirs.
Yeah. Do you use like what do you most enjoy using? What is like, I myself just love having lead guitar. Like lead guitar is my thing, and it's maybe because I haven't branched out and had the experience that you might have had where you're interacting with people in a church environment. Yeah. Do you like having that kind of choir vibe, choir background? Yeah.
I love a choir. And like we were talking about before with voice notes, like I've got so many voice notes on my phone where it's just like it's just me like prefacing the voice note like, this sounds pretty rubbish right now, but imagine it with a choir.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
But yes, I love a choir. We managed to, I released a song called Take It Slow as my dissertation for my uni project.
I think I remember that.
And that one we managed to record a full gospel choir. We made and recorded a full gospel choir for like in my church, and it was just, it was a really special moment, and it was really, really cool. So yeah, I love a gospel choir.
Love that. Okay, so would you say the use of those kind of harmonies, that kind of choir, that's like your favorite aspect, that favorite element that you would add to your songs, or what do you think is?
It's a good question.
That's straight off the top of my brain. This is we're just chatting.
Yeah, we're just riffing. I love harmonies. I love harmonies. Especially vocal harmonies. And I think probably that, and like I love writing a bass line.
Nice.
I just love it.
Everyone loves a bit of bass.
Everyone loves a bit of bass. I'm all about that bass.
All about that bass.
No trouble.
No trouble. What's her name?
Megan Trainor.
Megan Trainor. Respect.
Yeah, respect. Yeah. Anyway, we digress.
We do digress.
Yeah, I love a bass line.
Bass, nice. I would love to. So, what do you play? Can you play some bass? You can play.
Bass was the first instrument I ever learned.
Nice.
And it might be a theme, but like got bored of the bass, so taught myself guitar. Got bored of guitar, so started writing some songs.
Nice. But then you start, when you learn the next bit, you increase your arsenal, expand your arsenal,
and I think I've got to the point now where like I play the instruments I need to the standard I need to make a demo.
Okay.
And
that's good enough.
And that's good enough.
Nice.
It's probably not, and I'd love to like keep on expanding that and teach myself and learning new instruments and stuff.
How big do you go on continuous learning and trying to like learn new things in a musical way and like your creative way?
It's a good question. I think like I love learning, and whatever that looks like, whether it's reading books that like are informative or like just like coming up and making up new things, and I'm learning from that. I love it, but I think it just depends on what it is. Like some things, I think you get to a level where it's like, I've taught myself how to do this, and this is what I need for right now.
And then you just let the creativity kind of play its role, rather than the like technical parts, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's what I love about music, but also what I find really difficult about music is like I've basically taught myself how to play everything. And so I massively respect amazing technicians, but I will never be one, because I love being able to play something by ear or make something up that's completely new or just figure something out.
Yeah, I've I've always played by ear.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I had a couple of years of piano lessons when I was maybe 6 or 7. But I can't read. I actually can't read music.
Me neither.
I could maybe figure it out if I'd spent a while
Yeah.
thinking like, right, remember what is your C and just work your way up. I'd maybe figure some things out, but I can't read
Every good
music.
boy deserves football.
Yeah, is that how you do it?
That's
Every rude boy deserves
I
football.
think. Yeah.
Is that for a guitar? No, it's not.
No,
What is
that's
that?
like notations.
Every
Good boy deserves
good boy. I thought you said every rude boy. I was like, every rude boy deserves football.
What?
So interesting one. So
No,
every good boy
deserves football.
deserves football. So E, G, B, D, F, B. Football.
Yeah. No, just F.
Deserves football. No?
And then
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Look at me saying foot and ball. Yeah.
And then the spaces in between are like they. So that's for the lines of notation.
Okay.
And then the spaces in between are like what's missing. So
Where'd you learn this?
well, I did a bit where I had to teach music.
Okay.
And so I had to teach myself that to teach others.
How long have you been writing music for? And what has been your experience musically?
Yeah, good question. I've been writing music for, I reckon the first song I wrote was when I was about 13. So that's a good kind of 11 years now, 11, 12 years. And I think like, yeah, my background in music is very much church.
Okay.
So it's the first time I sang in front of people. It's the first time I played instruments in front of people.
What has been your experience like releasing music and then going away and studying as well in a capacity?
Yeah, good question. So I released, basically the first time I recorded music was, I played a song and at a, I can't even remember where it was, but someone forced me to, I think it was my dad had heard me practicing my music and he made me play it in front of people and someone recorded it and put it on Facebook and it went not viral, but maybe for Jersey it went viral. I think like I had like 15,000 views or something. So someone just got in touch with me and was like, I record music. I'm a producer. Do you want to record an EP? So like, sweet, why not? It'd be really cool, really fun. So I recorded a 5-song EP, I think, when I was 17.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to talk about this. Tunes! Absolute tunes.
Yeah, they were.
I will still, I know I was talking about it before. I was talking about, is it She Said? Is that one of them? But I'll catch myself just being like, baby, take me. Oh, banger. It's such a tune. I will catch myself just walking around singing that every now and again. Yeah. These songs, this EP that you've released, they're currently, where are they? Where can we find them?
That's a good question. SoundCloud's probably your best bet. That's a whole issue.
Yeah.
I changed distributor.
Yeah.
So they got deleted of a lots of.
Have you still got them somewhere?
Places. I probably do actually.
Is there like a bonus EP somewhere in the wings? Would you feel comfortable releasing some of them?
Maybe. I'm not going to commit to anything right now.
They're great songs.
Thanks.
Some great stuff.
I do like them.
But is it different? It's not quite your persona now.
Yeah,
right?
it's not me. And it's weird because like you say, like it captures a moment in time of where you were at that moment.
17 is very different to 26. Sorry, 24? Yeah. I'm 26. Yeah.
So it is a very different age.
Mm.
And I wrote a lot of them when I was like 14, 15.
Yeah.
So
that's another one. Like what I find is, so the last couple of tracks I've released, Angel and Ain't Gonna Stay, I wrote in like 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
And it takes that like time to, oh my
people don't realize
God, it takes so long just to like get bits organized, get stuff together.
People don't realize how long it takes.
Yeah. Do you ever get like, I wouldn't say it's a frustration because I'm happy to be like putting stuff out, but sometimes I'm like, oh, this isn't even me anymore, you know, this is
yeah.
like, this was something else where I was, but I think it is important to still push that out, even if
100%.
it's not quite you, it's still something that at the time you're
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I rate this enough
Yeah.
to put it out.
I actually had a massive struggle with that over the last kind of 2 years, really. Like the stuff I'm releasing now is from 2020, 2021, and it's a huge frustration because it's not me, and it's not I don't like it, and it's so hard to promote and to get other people to like it when I don't like it, and when I'm like, this doesn't feel like a representation of who I am, but still having to promote it and stuff. So I found that quite difficult, actually.
That's another thing. I think we've chatted about this briefly. The promotional side of things. You know, I think there are parts of creating and writing music that when you're at the level that, you know, me and you are kind of floating around, where you're pushing a lot of stuff yourself, it's difficult to like get involved. You know, I don't want to be on TikTok every day trying to post a video to try and get traction. I don't want to be on Instagram every day trying to get traction. I don't want to be advertising all my stuff all the time and having to put all that energy into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Although it is important, it is so important. It's like, how do you balance that? What do you do to try and push your music out?
I find it really hard. I think it's a tough balance because there's things that really frustrate me about it. Like I find the idea of they could be the best musician, best songwriter in the world ever right now, but he's an artist who doesn't like using, or she doesn't like using social media, and no one's ever going to hear about them. That concept really frustrates me.
Yeah.
But then I watched an interview the other day, actually, about someone who was talking about this, and he's in the industry, and he said, he was basically talking about 20 years ago, people would tour up and down the country performing to 2 or 3 people a night, and no one was complaining because they were playing live music in front of people. And he said, that's what social media is. The concept of the music industry has never changed. You put your music out there for people and they decide whether they like it or not. And if enough people like it, you're successful. And he said, it's exactly the same concept, but now it's just all on social media and it's all super emphasized because it's every single day and this and this and that.
So in a way, do you think it's easier? I mean, it definitely is easier, obviously, to be in your room and play a song to your camera and push it out there compared to driving to somewhere else, trying to play to 10 people in a room.
Yeah, I think it's easier in one sense, but I think it's really damaging in another sense.
Because it's not as real.
Because it's not as real. And I think I very much might be wrong, but I think we could have in 5 years all of the best musicians in the world don't know how to play a live gig. And people just stop going to live music, which would be hugely damaging. Because back in the day, you spent 10 years honing your skills on stage, knowing how to work an audience, how to do that. Whereas now, I know people that are super, super, super successful in the music industry as artists, signed with major labels, and they've never played a live show, which blows my mind.
This is a funny one, right? Because that emphasis on a lot of the creation is about what you can get digitally, rather than what you can get in the real world, where you're actually performing the songs and people are listening to you. It's more about like what you've created in this little computer world, rather than what you can do on stage. And it is a funny one. It is a shame. It is a shame, but
it's also the world.
It is a world. It is a world. So you just got to take it on the chin.
You just got to take it on the chin.
But I think there is a balance to be found in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there is so much now that is digital, and trying to find the right combination of releasing stuff on there and then playing live, I think it's the right thing to do. I also think, annoyingly, when you do play live, getting the right coverage of that and pushing that out there is a smart thing to do, isn't it? It's like,
100%.
you know,
100%.
If you can
And
show
you
people
don't-
that you're performing live,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Best
and
of
if
both
you
worlds.
don't, then people won't bat an eyelid.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, you played a gig, cool. Didn't see any footage from it.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Yeah, it's
Photos
fine.
or it didn't happen.
Yeah, like exactly. Photos or it didn't happen. So yeah, I think it is a frustration of mine that there's this constant digitization and like you need to record everything and push it out there.
And it's also living your whole life making content.
But I guess, I mean, the positive way to think about this is that we have the freedom to do that ourselves now.
Yeah.
I do appreciate, and I've never known what it was like being in the 90s where I had to, find someone to be working for a label and, give me that opportunity. Yeah. We do have the opportunity to create.
Yeah, it's true.
And that is fantastic. Yeah. And I think it probably is good to remember that, I guess, to try and tell myself that. Yeah. Because there is that frustration and that we're always battling that. Yeah. I think the positive side of things is we do have so much opportunity. It's true. So it is great.
Yeah, it's true.
Still, but yeah, it could be time to get in some notes.
Let's get into some
notes.
It
really could be time to get in some notes. I'm sure there's a few more questions that I'll jump in and out of.
Let's get into some notes.
But let's get into some notes. I'm pretty keen for this. So I am going to scroll all the way to the bottom. But just have a look, and if you find one, just raise your hand. No, don't raise your hand. If you find one, then fantastic. Okay. We'll go into it.
Sweet.
Oh my God.
Go on.
Oh no, it's actually horrendous.
Gotta be brave.
Right, so listen to this. January 2016.
Cool.
Fuck. 17 years old. I guess I might have been trying to rap, and how I find it easier to do these things is almost you just say it like it's poetry.
Okay, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
We don't have to sing it.
Yeah,
unless
we
you
don't
want
have to sing it. I don't want it.
So, they like you because you're rich. Yeah, you're hot, but you're a bitch. Do you think they'd really care if maybe you weren't there? No, they wouldn't. I'm just saying, because girl, I swear, you're in it for the money, in it for the fame, no love for the music. To you, it's all a game.
To rap the mic.
How outrageous is that? This is what I was writing. I'm sure, like...
Oh, no, mine's not far off, actually.
Is it not?
To be fair, I must admit, I cheated and looked at one before.
Oh, that's fine. It's good. It is good to do that, just to get a bit of...
It's really not far off. It's probably a bit more brutal than that, actually.
Okay. I'm keen.
But this one's probably a bit more older, and it's a bit longer. But I'm just going to go for it, and you can cut it. And...
Hit me with it. Hit me with it. No, you just go for it.
Are you ready? Right, here we go. With me, you were a jeans girl. Keep it clean, girl. Don't know what you mean, girl. But now you're a crop top flirt with a short skirt. And if a man makes a move, you swiftly take off your shirt. With me, it was all takeaways. Baby, let's stay in because it's meant to rain today. But now it's 5 times a week. 3 guys at least saying, what's your name again? After 2 hours of sleep. With me, you were the kindest, best heart, best soul. I thought our love was timeless. But now you're just a mean girl. It's only there's no such thing as teen girl. Used to be a sweet girl, come around my parents for an afternoon tea girl. But now you got your fake friends with their spray tan and 3 men on rotation. Now this is where it gets.
Go on, go for it.
Now I'm not calling you a slut, baby. I'm calling you thirsty. Don't know what you're looking for, but you're out till 7:30. Only earlier if there's a man by your side with his arms wrapped tight and his jaw swinging loose, saying, baby, let's leave before my vape runs out of juice. And if you know, actually, I'm not going to read that bit. Really bad.
This is one of those. So this is coming from an experience. This is.
Yeah. And it's just like it's just that thing of like, this is, I think, processing.
Yeah.
Something. And it's just a place of anger.
Yeah. But this obviously, like, this isn't something that you'd probably turn around and put out. By the way,
not even, yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm listening to the start of it. I'm like, oh yeah, there's some groove to this. I can imagine this. This is fantastic. But then sometimes it's like, it's too personal, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Too personal to push out.
And also just not true. Like,
But yeah, exactly. It's not true. It comes from that place of like you're angry with the situation.
bitter.
Yeah,
I'm really bitter.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's
it's
brilliant.
it's a way of processing.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And like, that's actually probably how, like, a massive motivation for so much of my writing is just processing things and writing down everything I'm thinking and feeling, even if it's not true and I just need to vent.
Yeah. Or even if you're feeling it in that moment, so you can kind of review it and reflect on it and like kind of move yourself past that. A lot of my songs from this era seem to be like, oh Jesus, just reading something. It seems to be about like generally breakups, and like it's so interesting kind of tapping into that teenage mentality, because it's such a wild world when you're getting into
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, compared to now, I'd like to think I was a lot more mature than I was when I was 17, 18, and the way you think about things changes, the way you think about things develops, not necessarily just because of the relationships you experience, but because of the life you experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is wild kind of looking back at how you thought about things. I find for myself. I don't know if it might not have changed for you. You might still be writing these kind of lyrics. Just keeping them quiet, you know?
This one was from yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting, like tapping back into that almost time capsule of where your head was at.
Yeah.
Thinking about why was your head there?
Yeah, it's true. It is cool. It is cool. I went through a phase of thinking I was the best lyricist ever, because I came up with so many like super clever puns and double meanings and.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just going to read it. I'm going to read 2 or 3 of them.
Okay, go for it.
And they're not full things, but they're just like little bits and pieces.
Okay.
So the first one is, I'm underwater, but I'm breathing. Must be raining. I didn't even notice.
It's so good. I wish I could compete with that. Oh my god.
The next one is, they say that time and space are relative. This was, I think, during the period of like a long distance relationship. So they say that time and space are relative.
Where is this going?
Well, it's like the idea of, because you're doing long distance, you have
It's not
time
about
and
being
space.
with a relative, no? Okay. I thought that could have been where we were going. I was getting a little bit worried.
I didn't know this was that type of podcast. Wow. There you go.
I think I found a really angry one.
Go on. We like an angry one.
So, you're a cunt and I hate you. Savage. It's interesting, like tapping into this like pure anger.
Savage.
Yeah, it's wild.
Wow.
I'm trying to guess, like, I think I must have just gone through a breakup at this point. When something means so much to you at that age,
savage.
17, you're like, that's the world just like crumbled.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because you look back at people that age now and you're like, you don't.
Whatever you're doing doesn't matter. Yeah, you're fine. You know, it doesn't. If you fail your A levels, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna be okay.
But it's the absolute biggest thing in the whole world at the time.
Yeah, it's such a trouble. Like everything, like any wrong that happens to you is the worst thing that could happen. And I'm sure, you know, that's not to take away from people that do have really bad experiences, of course, as a disclaimer. But like, generally, I always do this with like school. And like thinking about GCSEs, you know, you do your GCSEs, you get to A level, you're like, GCSEs were just pointless, weren't they? You do your A levels, you go to uni and you're like, no one cares about A levels. And then you do your degree, hang on, you go to a job and you're like, oh, no one cares about your degree. I did a history degree, now I'm a videographer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is funny. And like at the time you're always like, oh, you know, if I mess this up, sucks, the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But it never is.
And the weird thing is you never learn from that.
Yes, it's always the worst thing.
Always the biggest thing in the
I guess it
whole
has to be. It probably has to be because it's what you're experiencing. I don't know. I think you can train yourself out of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
But like, I do think catastrophizing can sometimes lead to like really interesting influence on what you want to write.
Yeah, for sure.
And like seeing the worst in a situation and like putting that down is probably really useful. You can kind of like get the most detail out of things, the most detail out of emotions. And also, I guess, tapping into the positives. Something that I always find, right? I tend to find it easier to write about breakups or negatives. What is your experience? Do you find it easier to write about, say, heartbreak rather than love, or what is the balance there?
It's a good question. I think I find it easiest to write about what the overwhelming thing is, an emotion is at the time. So yeah, for example, if I was feeling very positive, very happy, but I wanted to write about my mate's breakup, I'd find that really difficult. But
so you find it's easier to write about the feeling that you're feeling inside of you. Okay.
And I find it easier to write out of an outpouring of. I find it easier. The easiest songs that I've written are because I can't, like, because they need to come out. It's like an outpouring of like this emotion that I'm feeling. It has to come out somehow in some way into the world. Whether that's being super narcissistic and like everyone saying, asking everyone to look at me because this is what I'm feeling, or whether it's a way to deal with things and to process things. I don't know, but it's turning into a therapy session.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It is turning into a therapy session, but that's fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great. I'm there's weights coming off my shoulders.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
oh my god, yeah, it's nice to get this out.
Here we go.
Hit me.
It's so funny diving into like what I must have been thinking at the time. I'm not sure she enjoys the way I like to do things. Heaven and hell, babe, these are some new things. Bigger picture, I just want to kiss ya. Why does some book mean that I can't get with ya? I understand that we're not on the same page. And baby, this ain't like any other phase. It's bigger picture, baby. It's the thing that saved me. And I want to cry. Because we don't see eye to eye. And maybe I'm not the guy for you.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate.
It's quite sad.
It is sad, but it is brilliant. And like, it is so interesting, like channeling that religion there. Like,
yeah. A lot of them you'll hear kind of like themes of that.
Because it's such a big part of your world, such a big part of everyone's world. So it's interesting seeing that carry across to your music. And
it's probably day to day. It's the biggest influence of my life, and it's the thing I think about most. So it would be ingenuine to not put that across and not write about that as well. I think so.
Yeah. Fair enough. I've got another one. And when I asked about the other guy, though I know that you were drunk, your answer was still why. Why is it a problem? Not like we were official. But damn, if you were to leave, I know I'd really miss you. Must be something that you said. Go, you're playing with my head. Like when you told me I was perfect. If you mean it, how could it be worth it? To mess around with another man, than to say you care. And how now we've got some problems. I don't know if we can solve them. Some awful rhyming, but tapping into like, it's always about relationships. But generally, like my songs, I think I've probably moved away from writing I know we chatted about it before, writing about things that you're experiencing or writing things about your mates, what your mates are experiencing. But I've moved away from that, like writing about my relationships.
I have as well, I think.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know why that is. Why do you think that is for you?
I think the reason is for me, the main reason is probably because I value the relationships I'm in. And I'll probably still write about the relationships I'm in, but I won't show anyone.
Right. I agree. I like to kind of respect the emotional space that I'm in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can write about that, especially if it's like relatively generic and positive. but I generally don't want to be pushing out stuff that is about working through problems or that kind of thing.
And not so much actually for people looking in on my relationship, but actually because I just value that relationship and respect the person I'm with. And I think it probably wouldn't be fair to do that to someone, and to the circles and the people that know who they are and respect them. And like if I release that one that I said before that I wrote kind of completely out of anger, it's like that's just completely unfair for everyone who knows that person.
So that's where it becomes so much easier writing about other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like,
for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of my songs, I find there's so much more creative freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll release a song
And
about a mate situation.
Yeah. And you can just make
You can make
crazy stuff.
Yeah, you can. That is exciting, and it is like, oh, that's a really interesting situation, and there are people who have experienced that. I found another interesting one.
Go for it.
They're all so deep. I need to find
Mine are also
they're all so deep. There's never
Mine are all really deep.
rarely ever positive stuff in this early phase, and I think it is like writing about, I don't know, it's just about that emotion. It's such a trigger to write about negatives. I've got high water past my throat. When you're calm, I'm free to float. But when I swim, it's against the tide. It's just too hard to call you mine. It's ocean love. It's ocean love. It's ocean love, and it's not enough.
That's sick. I like it.
But yeah, there are times when I write songs that I think one phrase, like ocean love, there's so much you could unpack with that.
Yeah. And that clearly means so much to you at that time.
Yeah.
Whatever it means.
Yeah.
Like, it's so deep.
Generally.
Pun not intended, because the ocean's so deep.
As deep as the ocean. Yeah, I think a lot of what I write about, coming from Jersey, tends to be revolved around the sea and the ocean and the island life and like that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of inspiration there. Do you think you found inspiration in that, or do you think it's more social? Do you think it's different?
I think it's probably a mix of both, and the inspiration comes out in a different way. I feel very inspired around nature and around the ocean, but when I'm going to write a song about it, probably not so much.
Yeah.
But I would go and write a song at the beach, and I feel most inspired there, for sure.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting one. Like locations, do you get inspired by the space you're in?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Every time I move or go on, like move house or go on holiday, for the first month, 2 or 3 months, if I'm moving house, or like if I go on holiday and come back, it's like 2 months of like, I feel super inspired writing loads of music. But if I've been in the same space for too long, I find it really hard to get motivated.
It's like that kind of cognitive stimulation of the new area, the new sensations. Yeah, I think that change and that newness is so important. And here I am, still in Jersey, currently in my parents' house. 21 years after moving here. Let's go.
I've got a pretty deep one, I think.
Okay.
And it's probably, to be quite open, it's probably an insecurity, one being written out of insecurity for me, and one of that feeling of I don't want people to know what's going on.
Right. But that's an interesting one, because you're writing,
exactly,
you're putting it down for,
yeah,
I guess, yourself as well. But a lot of the time we write to tell stories, and at least I try to tell stories, and I want to tell other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Go on, hit me with this.
So this one is, please don't cry at the party, save it till the afters, where nobody can see us and nobody can ask us who we think we are, breaking others' hearts and moving on too fast with people just like us. Please don't cry at the party, let's just show them laughter. Let's hide how we feel, because baby, I feel awful. And I don't want to move on tonight, because moving on means no you and I. And I'm not going to cry at the party, I'll save it till the afters, when nobody can see and nobody can ask us who I think I am, breaking others' hearts and moving on too fast with people just like her.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Do you ever like look back and find stuff that you're like, I should do stuff with this?
Probably Yeah, I do. I think I listen to my notes more than I look back
I
at
listen.
lyrics.
Yeah, that's kind of what jumped at me about this. Is like this feels like untapped territory. Reading through notes, because I'm always writing, but I'm also most of the time doing voice notes.
Yeah.
And like listening back, whenever I'm traveling on a plane, I'll probably listen to like voice notes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
oh, mate, I do exactly the same.
Yeah. And there's so many ideas on there. But I do think, like, you know, sometimes I'll come across something, I'm like, do something with this.
Yeah.
I'll literally change the name of it. Like, do something with this. Yeah. It's like it's got a song name, and I'll just add in brackets, do this. Do you ever like that? That's brilliant. And there's like the bones are there for something that could be really incredible with the right accompaniment and like all sorts. So like, you know, do you ever?
Sometimes I do. I think it depends what it is.
I think you could really work that. I really like that.
Maybe.
I like that a lot.
Well, I'm gonna change the name of it. Do something with this.
do something with this. I like that a lot. And I think I think there is part of me that wants to sit down and like go through everything that I've written and like really try and like plan it out, because a lot of the time it's just like scatterbrain. Here's what I'm thinking, and I'm going to write some stuff, and you can forget about it.
You could make a whole album just on that, probably. I can go again if you want. It's probably a similar one. It's another breakup.
Okay, hit me with it.
It's kind of mad how my life just goes on without you in it. I'm kind of glad that our mates get along, so I can sneak peek a view of you doing something stupid in exactly the same way that you used to do it, but just with someone new. And I think I'd have you back in a heartbeat if you were just to ask me and not get all arsey. And I just deeped how mad our lives would be if things had worked out differently and you and I were meant to be. Nice. So many of these are.
I'm such a sucker for like those breakup, like true emotion. Like it is those emotions.
Yeah, they're real.
They're real. Yeah, and like
I feel sorry for people that can't put it down. In a way.
Yeah, they can't like kind of get that out of them, that outlet.
Yeah, that's to be fair, that's probably why therapy is so powerful.
Yeah,
it's like because it's basically this. And like just verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, getting it out of you, expressing it. Yeah, when some people kind of like hold it in.
Yeah. I've just got one note that says, drums like Adele. No idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. I think I was really into like a spoken word phase. Have you got one? Oh my
God, this is crazy. Okay, bear with me. Okay. I think I've recently tried to, like, not recently, over the 3 or 4 years, probably earlier, way earlier. I always loved experimenting with rap. I never felt confident enough to push it out, but I've always got those elements of rap in there.
Yeah.
And I think this is maybe some sort of rap influence, probably like Eminem kind of vibes.
Nice. Can you rap it?
I don't know if I can.
Okay, just speak
I'll speak it. I think this makes sense if you've watched No Strings Attached and Friends with Benefits.
Okay.
You know, the Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
So maybe we should play tennis, like Mila and Justin. But Mila's with Ashton, isn't she? Swear he was in something. Oh yeah, No Strings Attached. Anyway, you get the idea. But all jokes aside, sex?
It's to the point.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Literally, what the hell? Hang on, I'm just going to read ahead just in case this is like really incriminating. Oh my God, it's outrageous. Okay. You're a good-looking girl, I'm not going to lie, but you know it and you should know it. So see, that is why. You're a 7. You could be an 8, just saying, but 7 is my lucky number. So let's make some noise like thunder. On top of the sheets, not under. Lights on, do I care? No. Do you? I wonder. Where is this coming from? It's like this is an alternate like personality. Like this is outrageous. It's like it's so interesting. Like coming from who I am now is nothing that would even think about these words. But it's like tapping into that like cocky, just like
Do you find that you do that and you tap into something else when you're writing music? Because like a lot of the time, like I'll read my lyrics out and I'm like, because I'm not that soppy, but like I'll read my lyrics out and I'm like, I've written that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I've tapped into something that, and I think music does that, but do you find that as well?
I'd like to try and rescue myself from this situation. I think I was tapping into some other thing. This wasn't me at all. I think it comes back to that, like tapping into other people's stories and like tapping into, I don't know, maybe playing up on certain emotions.
Yeah.
To try and expand and try and flesh out a story. There are times, usually when I read something back and I'm like, that's not me. That's when the song gets scrapped. You know, so it's weird kind of balance of the right kind of making it up, where you believe it and it is something you can tap into.
Yeah, for sure.
And not just ruining a song for yourself because it's not you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, here's another. I think this one is me trying to tap into spoken word,
Okay,
rappy.
hit me with it.
So now I'm more like a P. So maybe why don't you come here and we can watch TV? Because the bar's too spinny and the club's too sweaty, and I prefer chilling with you when the chat gets heavy. And it goes real deep, and we forget about the fact that you can't feel me, but you still ask me why, and I'll tell you about Christ, and say, baby, this is me as a living sacrifice. And I know that it's hard, because you're used to a man that doesn't care about God, and I'm trying my hardest not to lead you on. But we vibe on a level that's worth a song.
That's incredible. There's this balance of like borderline getting into like London rap.
Yeah,
and I love that you circle it back to the religion and
still.
it's incredible. Do you use any sort of rapping in?
I love rap and I love spoken word, so I'm on a journey with that, but bits and pieces, but not loads.
Yeah, I think spoken word and rap are so very close.
Yeah.
And I like to try and disguise my rap as some sort of spoken word, so it's a bit more digestible.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Hit me with that one you've just found.
Okay. Like I said to you just before, this one is way too recent to be going in, but I've got no shame. so it's just going to go in. And that's the thing as well. Like, I still write now absolute trash. So often I'll record something on my phone in my voice notes and like leave it for a day, come back to it.
And you're like, what the hell is that?
Hello, you with a beautiful face. Want to come around mine and we can think of the ways that you and I could be more than just half decent mates. Because I've seen your ex-man, and like Corona, you got no taste.
I love that. I love that. What's great is like, no one would know that was too recent.
No, true.
So
I mean, it talks about Corona, so you can tell it's at least.
Snap! That's only just processed for me. The combination of I was thinking Corona beer, and I thought you were just dissing the beer, and I was like, it's all right.
You lose your taste.
You know, but yes, I got you. I thought you were just having a go at the old Corona beer. Yeah. Tasteless.
Maybe I am.
But
maybe it was 2017 and you'll never know.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. I like that one a lot.
Anyway.
So, next phase. This is a danger zone. Voice note roulette.
Let's do voice note roulette.
Okay, we'll do voice note roulette.
Okay, this one is called So Sweet.
I bet this is lovely. I'm about to give you some trash.
I'm not sure. What's going on?
That's lovely.
Oh my word. We need to get some singing in there quick. Okay. All right. Got better. Oh, okay.
This is great.
You can picture it being all right.
I'm so scared. Like, when was that? Can you tell me when that was?
2022.
2022. So that's relatively recent.
It's relatively recent.
So, like,
this only goes back to 21.
I've got stuff from like 2015.
Okay.
2016.
This could be fun.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So this was when I used to really noodle with my guitar.
Nice.
God damn.
Nice.
I think there's vocals. I'm so scared. The song's called Run.
Okay.
February 2015, so I'm 16 years old.
It was kind of like, kind of a bit sounded country.
Yes. And
Like a bit of Joni Mitchell.
do you know where that probably has come from? Have you ever watched Into the Wild?
Don't think so.
Into the Wild is a true story about a bloke who, young man, I think he's like early 20s, late teens maybe, but fed up with society. He probably chooses not to go to college even though he gets a scholarship, and he decides to become a tramp. And it's genuinely one of my favorite movies, and he decides to trek up through America. He wants to go from Mexico to Alaska, and it's that story of him letting go of society. And something that I always like to do is picture like motion and movement, and like I'd love to write a song that you can imagine listening to whilst on a journey.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
That is something that inspires me, and I've always that's where that kind of element comes from, and I think I was probably smashing that movie listening to.
That's cool.
Listening to that.
That is very cool.
It's so weird going back and listening to
It is so
the things that you thought not necessarily thought they were good, but the influences you had. But that's so different to what I would do now.
100%.
So different.
Do you have any that are just like I've got a couple in mind that the notes are just like vibes?
Go for it. Give me some vibes.
Because I'm like, I don't know what it's called yet. I don't know. I'm gonna
But like you don't have a name for it.
Yeah, like the note for it is just the title of the note is just vibes.
Okay. Hit me with vibes.
Could be terrible.
Hit me with vibes.
Could be terrible.
Told me you were down for the weekend. Said that you could stay for the evening. Maybe you stay for the rest of my life. Bass and drums. You told me that you love me. Said make all these lights are deceiving. I don't wanna lie. This just feels right. Yeah, oh baby, when it's just the two of us. Oh, I don't wanna leave from right here.
Oh boy.
I love that.
To be fair, it is vibes.
It is vibes. I think I dropped my guitar at the start of this.
This is nice.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Let's listen to that start again. Straight into it though, I love that. I clearly like whacked myself in the head with my guitar. That's 2020. So that's 4 years ago. Starting to get a little bit more like, you know, thinking
Bit
about
more
things.
you.
Yeah, a little bit closer to what the sound is now and exploring what I would want to sound like.
In the shower.
Sounds like it. I think I'm frying some bacon.
Okay.
I was getting high off your love, high off your love, but lately you've been cold to the touch, cold to
I've got so many of those.
coming down off your love, down off your love.
Do you ever give it that? Do you ever just like
Yeah,
you've not got the lyrics yet, but you're like
Oh,
give it something like that?
So many.
I think please give me some of that.
I think, to be fair, I think it actually is quite nice.
Go for it.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I love this. And
I
this is
tried to be kind. You love but not my mind. Selfless when there's eyes. This ain't love, this ain't. Put yourself on top. Never want to stop. I know you don't try. This ain't love, this ain't. Na, 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 na.
Yeah.
mate, that's a bop.
I just mumble.
But that's I will mumble as well.
Yeah, I mumble. There's
What I love is like just sitting there and listening. You've got so much potential in this phone. There's
which is
so many tunes
crazy.
that
Yeah, it's
to
true actually.
a lot of people. So to me, I'm listening to these like there's a song there. There's a
I know
whole
what you
song
mean.
there, you know, and it's just like fuck, just grab it and like
That's true.
do something with that.
I think that's what people don't understand as well. Like lots of the time people go, well, they'll say, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I write songs. I go, oh, how many songs have you written?
4.
Yeah. Like, it's literally like, what do you mean, how many songs I've written?
Yeah, loads. But how many songs have you released is always like, oh yeah, like 2 or 3.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's thousands, like there's so many.
Thousands
Yeah.
and thousands.
I don't just wanna know your name.
Jesus Christ, it's like country vibes.
Maybe lock the doors and turn the lights up low.
Okay, I think this is the more guitar version.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Just yeah, I need to do that. There are some that I am just like over guitar like you did before. It is funny seeing that that layering in. But yeah, that first one, baby lock them doors and turn the lights down low. Oh wow.
There's lots that I've got like the influence as well. So I've like,
Oh, you pre like faced it with this song.
yeah. So I'm like the title for one is like Mac Miller vibes
Okay.
or something like that.
Oh yeah, go on. Let's.
Yeah, Mac Miller vibes. It's not. By the way, it's not going to be anywhere even close. Let's have a little listen. There's a theme to them. To be fair, a lot of them sound very similar on guitar. Don't they?
Say it like you mean it. Tell me like you want me to stay. Baby, I'm not leaving. Baby, I'm not walking away. I know that there's distance. But baby, I'ma fight for you. I pray for forgiveness. And now I gotta say the truth. And this is the outro bit. Yeah. I'm so sorry for my misbehavior, but you are where I learned to sin. Oh baby, I'm no saint, I'm no angel. You do that when you let me in. Oh yeah. I'm sorry for my misbehavior, but you are where I learned to sin. And baby, I'm no saint, I'm no angel. You do that when I let me in. Oh yeah.
Bit of a vibe to
Oh
be
man,
fair.
that is vibes. That is vibes. I love that sound.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a hard balance of like being the same and being boring and releasing the same stuff every time,
Yeah.
but also having your sound.
Yes.
It's
yes.
a really hard balance.
I always hate like the idea of having a sound. I always just want to like create something that I think sounds good.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, oh, does this sound enough like me?
Yeah,
Sometimes I
that
can
as well.
like, I worry that I'm just putting myself in a box if I do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is a thing that sometimes you have to do for the sake of
And
the
that's
listeners.
that's what they drilled into us at uni. Is like, be yourself, have your sound, be unique, find your sound. It's like, it does just put you in a box. A box for like a lot of what you do, which is a shame.
But I think when you have a sound, having just played me like 2 or 3 different songs,
Yeah.
you can hear the consistency.
Yeah.
But you can also feel the difference.
But same with you as well. I think if you focus too much on your sound, you get stuck in a box. But being yourself naturally,
Yeah, and letting your sound,
you're gonna put that in. You're gonna put yourself into whatever you make.
yes, yeah. I think also you can let your sound evolve,
Yeah, for sure.
and you don't need to be like, oh, is this me? Is this like really what I sounded like last year? No, just let it grow. I think I've released the 4 tracks I'm releasing. There is a link. You can kind of hear it, but they're all wildly different.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I think that's sometimes nicer.
Yeah, for sure. This one is labeled Hot Pants. I've absolutely no idea what's going to come out of this phone right now.
Okay, go on.
But
hit me with some hot pants.
Here's some hot pants, guys. Oh.
Oh, that's brilliant. You're going for Sampha vibes, I think.
Yeah. It's just mumbling as well. There's no words.
That's fine. That's usually like a good way of like finding the skeleton of something.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you ever find that you'll do something like that and you'll be like, this is a vibe. I can do something with this. You get to recording it and it just doesn't happen. It just like there's this barrier that you can't seem to cross with it. Do you ever find that?
I do find that. And I don't know what it is.
Is it like, I think I wanted to go into this a little bit earlier, but I kind of had a go at mixing my own stuff and like that kind of vibe, and it's so difficult to be in the creative world and be happy with what you're pushing out creatively, and then think about all the technical bits. I found I really struggle doing that. What's your relationship with the technical side of things?
Yeah, for me it's that's not what I do or where I'm at. So I find that's probably what I find the hardest about it, and it's like an ever growing and an ever like learning thing for me. Is like the extent of it is making demos, and I do love it, but I find it very, very hard to put what's in my head onto something, and I need help from someone else to do that.
How many demos do you have? Would you say if you got like hundreds?
On my laptop, hundreds. Yeah.
I think what I struggle with is I tend to skip the demo phase of things. Okay. I'll have the idea, and then because I wanna have a product that I can release, I'll probably just work through it. There's stuff that I'll do like a draft vocal take. 5 times out of 10, that draft vocal take will end up being what's in the final release. I say 5 times out of 10, I've released 5 songs.
5 times out of 5.
5 times out of 5. You're right. But yeah, it is interesting. Like demoing and sharing your idea. Of course, I've got demos in some capacity, but in my head, it's not quite a demo. You know. I think I'm still in this like do it myself space, not necessarily because I want to be, but because it's what I can do. But
also like I think there's real strengths with that, because you're not having like an influence from the way a producer wants this to sound.
Don't get me wrong. I think I produce, like I'll record everything myself. But the mixing, a friend of mine does it. I know I've mentioned him, and that helps. I definitely think like relinquishing the weight off your shoulders of doing everything. Find someone who wants to do it and
And
can
once you
do
find
it.
someone who you trust, stick with them.
Yeah. And even if you gotta like, I of course I pay for it. Of course, I'm sure
yeah,
of
for
course you pay for your stuff.
Yeah.
You might be really lucky and you find someone who'll just do it. But it's worth it, I think, and that money is so worth the time to kind of alleviate the stress of trying to balance everything yourself. It's so hard to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we nearly wrapped up. I think that the wax from the candle is all over the table. One more time, where can people find your music? Give us your name, your Spotify handle.
Cool. Find me on Spotify. It's Matthew Gregory. Instagram is @it's Matthew Gregory. And just search Matthew Gregory. Listen to some tunes. Have a good time.
EP is probably already out by the time that we push this thing out to the world. Notes and lyrics. Episode 1, baby. Episode 1, baby.
Good fun. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Really fun experience. Experience. Yeah. And hopefully there's plenty more of this to come from me, and hopefully we'll chat again at some point as well and see where the roads have taken each of us.
Maybe a collab on the
Maybe a collab on the cards. Yeah, you know. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you so much. I'm gonna give you one of those. Oh, not tonight, but thank you so much. And yeah, there we are.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had.
Reason and a cause, the simplest of all love songs, most beautiful of chords, seem hard